All right, let's talk about aging, and I mean the real science of it. We're going to go way beyond just wrinkles and gray hair to really get a handle on the crucial changes happening inside our bodies. And, most importantly, we'll talk about what you can actually do to manage them. So let's dive right in.
You know the deal. We all see those classic signs on the outside, right? A few more wrinkles showing up, a little bit of gray hair, maybe a lot of gray hair. These are the things we see in the mirror every day. They're easy to spot, easy to talk about.
But here's the thing, what's happening underneath all that? That's what's way more important. I'm talking about the changes to our heart, our bones, our minds. Those are the things that really shape our health and how we live our lives. And that is exactly what we are going to break down today.
So, here's the game plan. Think of this as a quick tour of your own body. We'll hit the big systems, the heart and blood vessels, bones and muscles, your memory and mind, and even your eyes and ears. And the best part? For each stop on this tour, we're going to talk about the simple, powerful steps you can take to stay in the driver's seat.
Okay, first stop on our tour, the body's engine room. We're talking about the foundational systems that keep us up and moving, your heart and your bones.
So, as we get older, our blood vessels and arteries, well, they tend to get a bit stiffer. They lose some of that youthful flexibility. And what that means is your heart has to work harder, a lot harder, just to pump the same amount of blood. Now, what's really interesting is that your resting heart rate doesn't really change much. It stays about the same, but the heart muscle itself, it has to adapt and work overtime to handle that extra load. And all that extra work, it can lead to things like high blood pressure or hypertension. It also means your heart's ability to, really kick into high gear when you're exercising or under stress, that ability kind of goes down a bit. Now, this does not mean you should stop being active. It just really highlights why keeping your heart healthy becomes even more critical as the years go by. But here's the good news, and it's really good news. We have a whole toolkit of things we can do to support our heart. Staying active, even just regular walking or swimming, is absolutely key. Eating smart, focusing on fruits, veggies, whole foods, that helps a ton. Quitting smoking is a huge one because that directly damages your arteries. And please, don't forget about stress and sleep. They are just as crucial for keeping that heart of yours healthy. All right, let's talk about the body's framework, your bones, joints, and muscles. As we age, it's natural for our bones to start losing some of their density. They can even shrink a little bit. And right along with that, our muscles can start to lose some of their strength, their endurance, and even their flexibility. So, what does this actually mean for your day-to-day life? Well, less dense bones mean a much higher risk of a fracture if you happen to fall. And that loss of muscle strength, that can mess with your coordination and your balance, which, you guessed it, makes a fall more likely in the first place. It's kind of this cycle, you see, but it's absolutely a cycle we can do something about. Okay, I want you to remember one number for a second, just one, 800. 800 IU, or international units. This little number is a huge piece of the puzzle for keeping your bones healthy, especially as you get older, and we're about to see exactly how it fits into our plan. And here's how it all clicks together. So we all know calcium is the main building block for our bones, right? But your body can't actually absorb that calcium without vitamin D. It's like the key that unlocks the door. The daily recommendation is about 600 IU, but for adults over 70, that number bumps up to the 800 IU we just talked about. So you combine that with weight-bearing exercises, like walking or even climbing stairs, and you kick bad habits like tobacco and too much alcohol, and bam, you've got a really solid plan. Okay, let's move on up from the engine room to the command center, your memory and your mind. I know there's a lot of worry out there about cognitive changes with age, so let's take a minute and really separate the myths from what's actually going on. First things first, and this is really important. Some changes in the brain are a completely, totally normal part of getting older. Experiencing some, mild shifts in your mental sharpness is pretty typical, and it is not automatically a sign of some serious decline. So, what do these normal changes actually feel like? Well, maybe it just takes you an extra second to pull up a name you know. Or you find it's a little harder to multitask, trying to cook dinner while you're on the phone. These are super common experiences. And they're a world away from the kind of significant memory loss that really gets in the way of your daily life. Now, here's something that's really cool. Remember all that stuff we said about keeping your heart healthy? Well, guess what? It's pretty much the exact same playbook for your brain. Physical activity, a healthy diet, keeping your blood pressure in check, quitting smoking, all of those things protect your brain too. And then if you add in some mental workouts like reading or doing puzzles, and you make sure to stay socially connected, you're basically building up this cognitive reserve, which is like a backup generator for your brain that keeps it sharp and resilient.
All right, last stop on our tour. Let's talk about our windows to the world, our eyes and our ears. Changes to our vision and hearing are super common as we get older, but just understanding what's happening is the absolute first step to managing it.
With both our eyes and our ears, these changes usually happen pretty gradually. With your vision, you might start having trouble focusing on things up close. Hello, reading glasses. Or you might notice you're way more sensitive to glare, which can make driving at night a real pain. And for hearing, the big challenge is often with those high-pitched sounds, or trying to follow a single conversation in a loud, crowded room, and that can be really isolating.
So the strategy here is all about being proactive. Getting regular checkups for your eyes and ears, that's totally non-negotiable. It helps you catch things early. And listen, when it comes to things like glasses or hearing aids, try to think of them less as a sign of getting older and more as a tool for staying independent and plugged into the world around you. And even simple things, like making sure you have good lighting at home or turning down the TV when someone's talking to you, those little adaptations can make a world of difference.
Okay, so we've taken our tour through the body, we've looked at the changes. Now let's pull this all together into a simple, proactive plan that really puts you in the driver's seat of your own health.
Think of this as your personal cheat sheet. The do column has everything we've been talking about. Stay active, eat well, get your checkups, take care of your mental well-being. And the don't column? Well, it's pretty much just the opposite. It's a really powerful, simple reminder of just how much is in our control.
All right, you ready for a quick quiz? Let's see what's stuck. Let's go back to when we were talking about bone health. What was that key number, that daily recommendation for vitamin D for adults over the age of 70?
If you were thinking 800 IU, you nailed it. That is the magic number. It's the daily amount that helps your body actually use calcium to keep your bones strong. It really is a small detail that has a massive impact.
Okay, next question for you. Think back to our chat about the mind. That tip of the tongue feeling where you're struggling for a word you know, is that a normal part of aging? True or false? And the answer is true. Yes. And this is such an important point to remember. Mild changes like that are a totally typical part of healthy aging. And just knowing that can get rid of so much unnecessary worry. So let's end with this one thought. We've spent this whole time talking about how so many of the changes that come with aging are manageable, right? It's all about making proactive, healthy choices. So it kind of makes you rethink that old phrase, act your age. What does that even mean anymore? Maybe acting your age just means taking control, staying engaged with the world, and never stopping to thrive. Thanks for joining me on this one.